Let's talk cricket. The Poms reckon we're cheats. Here's the Cam Green catch. I'll get your view of it.
Oh, he's taken it.
Keep it rolling through, frame by frame. Keep it rolling through, yeah. Fingers underneath the ball.
Shubman Gill cannot believe it.
What do you reckon?
It's out. It's out. The third umpire, Richard Kettleborough, who knows the rules of cricket better than anybody probably in the world, ruled it as out. It's out. This is why the third umpire was brought into the sport, where millimetres matter and these decisions are worth millions of dollars. They've all agreed to it. So has the Indian Test team. Cam Green thought it was out. That's why they appealed as they did. It got sent upstairs. Richard Kettleborough adjudicated it out. There is nowhere else to go with this. I understand what Rohit Sharma, the Indian captain, has said in the post-match press conference, but we brought the technology into the sport for this exact circumstance. So it wasn't up to the players or the on-field umpire, so they could use the technology. They did. The decision was given.
Well, it sets up a wonderful Ashes series, doesn't it? Because if the Poms are going to come out here and hound us right through the Ashes series, suggesting we're a bunch of cheats, it's going to be fun and games for everybody. That was a great victory, though, by the Australian team. I mean, you could see after the game how much it meant to those guys. They really, really got around each other. It was quite extraordinary.
Yeah, it was a wonderful team performance, and what people probably aren't aware is this World Test Championship has been building over the last 2 years. This is 2 years' worth of Test performance by this Aussie team. This is the first time this World Test Championship has ever been held and won. Again, Rohit Sharma, the Indian captain, would like to see it as a best-of-3 Test series. I can understand why, given that they lost. But fantastic performance by this entire team. Travis Head, a man of the match with his first innings, 163. The question now, though, for Australian cricket, or more specifically George Bailey, the head selector, is to Scott or not to Scott for this first Ashes Test on Friday. Scott Boland, how can you deny this man? How can you not pick him for the first Test at Edgbaston? Whereas they think Josh Hazlewood, who has been a staple in this side, is fit and ready to go. So does he earn his spot back in this bowling side alongside Stark and Cummins? Or do you keep the faith in Scott Boland, given that he's just delivered 5 wickets in this World Test Championship final at a miserly 2.8 run rate?
Liam, I'm very loath to get into the argument about who's the best ever in whatever sport, because I think it depends on the era they're in. I mean, you can go back through some wonderful tennis players, including most recently, of course, Roger Federer. Novak Djokovic, though, there's no denying he's a hell of a player.
We had this debate on the Triple M Rush Hour this afternoon, and you're right. What makes the greatest of all time? Do you have to take into consideration the off-field stuff? But Novak Djokovic now is the most successful men's Grand Slam tennis player of all time. 23 Grand Slam titles. It was his 3rd French Open. He's the first ever male player to win at least 3 of each of the Grand Slams. He now sits 1 behind Margaret Court, Australia's Margaret Court, on the all-time list. And he's still alive in the calendar Grand Slam for this year. He obviously won the Australian Open, now the French. Wimbledon will come next, early July, then the US Open in August. And who's to say he can't achieve that? He'd be the first man since Rod Laver did it many, many years ago to achieve the calendar Grand Slam. So it's hard to argue against his greatness.
Origin 2 on its way. Queensland now got their own injury concerns with Selwyn Cobbo. He's out. This is going to be a game where most of the, so many of the good players are not playing.
It's becoming a war of attrition, isn't it? Obviously, Queensland with a 1-0 lead. Billy Slater came out and named his side today. Now, 3 changes for them due to injury. You mentioned Selwyn Cobbo. That was a surprise. There are suggestions that if the Broncos had to play this weekend, they've got the bye, he would have been able to. So Queensland have obviously decided he's not ready. They've brought Xavier Coates in. Who knows what Origin's all about? He's played 6 times before. He's a quality winger. That's fine. Obviously, Tom Gilbert and Jai Arrow are the other outs for Queensland, both through injury. Jeremiah Nanai comes in, knows what it's about, would have been there in game 1 if not for suspension. And Mo Fotuaika from the Titans as well. He comes into the side. Queensland have just fixed the injury problems they have. New South Wales will announce their team reportedly at 11 a.m. tomorrow. This is the interesting one, though. They need to replace Nathan Cleary and Api Coruscant, their half and their hooker, through injury. It would appear what Mitch Moses did today for the Parramatta Eels will be enough to get him that 7 spot. That's what the reports are suggesting. And it looks like South's Damien Cook will come in at hooker. But then Freddie looks like he's going to make some unforced changes, not through injury, as well, with Tavita Pangai Jr., Hudson Young and Nicho Hines all to be dropped. And the changes that they'll make to that side, it looks like Reece Robson from the Cowboys might get a start and Spencer Leniu coming in from the Panthers as well. So there is some chopping and changing. But if you're a New South Wales supporter, the good news is Latrell Mitchell, who was a massive out on the eve of Game 1 in Adelaide, looks set to be named tomorrow for the Blues.